Sarah Bennett was a devoted mother of 5, known for her warm smile and unwavering strength, until one autumn evening when she stepped outside to check the mail and vanished without a trace. What happened to Sarah shattered a quiet town and left behind a trail of secrets darker than anyone imagined. On a calm autumn evening in the quiet town of Maplewood, Sarah Bennett's day seemed to end like any other. The sun was setting, casting a warm orange glow over the neighborhood. Inside the Bennett household, the children were finishing dinner, laughter and chatter filling the rooms. Sarah, a devoted mother of 5, moved from the kitchen to the living room, tidying up after the meal. Everything looked peaceful and ordinary until the moment Sarah stepped outside to check the mail. It was a simple, everyday task. She told no one. She was going out, just slipped quietly through the back door toward the mailbox at the end of the driveway. The air was crisp, the scent of fallen leaves carried softly by the breeze. She bent down to pick up the letters and flyers that had been delivered, but then something unexpected happened. Sarah did not return. Minutes passed. The children called out for her, expecting her to come back inside. The house was still, except for the usual evening sounds, birds settling in for the night, distant cars driving by, and the ticking of the clock. When Sarah's footsteps didn't echo back through the hallway, a quiet worry began to settle in the home. Her husband, Mark, noticed her absence first. He stepped outside, calling her name softly at first, then with growing concern. The neighbors, alerted by the sudden tension, came out to look as well. But Sarah was nowhere to be found. Her car remained parked in the driveway, untouched and unlocked. Her phone lay forgotten on the kitchen counter, its screen dark and unlit. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. The police were called, and a search began immediately. Officers combed through the neighborhood, checking nearby streets and questioning anyone who might have seen Sarah after she stepped outside. Neighbors described her as friendly, reliable, and the heart of her family. No one reported anything unusual. No strange visitors, no loud arguments, no signs of struggle. Yet as the hours stretched into days, the mystery only deepened. Surveillance cameras from nearby houses were reviewed, but showed no unusual activity. Sarah's bank accounts and phone records revealed no strange calls or transactions. It was as if she had disappeared without a trace. The children grew confused and frightened. Their mother, their constant protector, was gone. The community rallied, organizing searches through nearby parks, fields, and woods, hoping to find even the smallest clue. Flyers with Sarah's photo were posted on every lamppost and bulletin board. Local news stations covered the story, pleading for anyone with information to come forward. But the more people looked, the more elusive Sarah became. Questions filled the air. Had she left by choice? Was she in danger? Or was something darker at play? The uncertainty gnawed at everyone's hearts. As night fell over Maplewood, the Bennett home stood silent and empty without Sarah. The lights she once turned off were now a painful reminder of her absence. 5 children faced a future without their mother's comforting presence. And the town waited, desperate for answers, hoping the mystery of the mother who vanished would one day be solved. Days after Sarah Bennett vanished, the initial shock began to give way to a deeper, more unsettling feeling. The police had searched every corner of the neighborhood, yet no new clues had surfaced. Still, the quiet streets held secrets that no one had noticed before. One neighbor came forward with something strange she had heard just a few nights before. Sarah disappeared. It was late at night, around midnight, when loud banging and muffled voices had echoed from the Bennett house. The sounds were unusual for the normally calm family home. Then, abruptly, everything went silent. No one had thought much about it until now. This detail led investigators to focus on the Bennett house itself. They searched it carefully, paying special attention to the basement, a part of the home no one had entered yet. The basement door was locked, and after some effort, the police forced it open. Inside, they found a room cluttered with old boxes and family keepsakes, but also something unexpected. Hidden in a dusty corner was a small locked chest. When opened, it revealed a collection of journals Sarah had kept over the years. The pages were filled with her handwriting, thoughts, worries, and fears she had never shared with anyone. The journals told a story very different from the happy image Sarah had shown the world. She wrote about feeling trapped, overwhelmed by the pressure of caring for 5 children and managing a household almost entirely on her own. More alarming were entries that hinted at a sense of fear, mentioning watchful eyes and whispers in the dark. There were notes about late-night noises, shadows moving just beyond her vision, and the feeling that someone was watching her every move. These revelations shocked the community. The picture of Sarah as a joyful, strong mother was now clouded by the knowledge that she had been silently struggling. The police started to consider that her disappearance might be linked to something more sinister than a simple missing person case. Neighbors who had once thought Sarah's life was perfect began to notice little oddities they had overlooked. The man who walked his dog late at night always paused near the Bennett house. A car parked across the street seemed to appear and disappear without explanation. Yet, no one had connected these details before. With these new concerns, the investigation broadened. Detectives interviewed friends, family members, and anyone who had been close to Sarah recently. Some people admitted to seeing tension between Sarah and someone she never named. Others hinted at strange phone calls and hurried meetings that made them uneasy. Despite all the searching and questioning, the locked basement door had hidden the truth for too long. The journals were a silent witness to a life filled with fear and secrets. Secrets that might explain why Sarah had chosen to vanish. But the biggest question remained. Who or what was Sarah afraid of? The police knew that uncovering the answer would be the key to solving the mystery. Until then, the shadows around the Bennett family grew darker, and the hope of finding Sarah safe became more urgent than ever. As the investigation into Sarah Bennett's disappearance deepened, the police began to focus on those closest to her. The discovery of her journals revealed a woman struggling with fear and hidden threats, but no clear suspect had emerged. Then came a startling new lead that shifted the entire case: a recently issued life insurance policy. It was uncovered that, just a few months before Sarah vanished, her husband, Mark Bennett, had taken out a large life insurance policy, naming himself as the sole beneficiary. The policy was worth a substantial sum, enough to raise suspicion. Detectives began to wonder if financial gain might have motivated someone close to Sarah to cause her disappearance, or worse. Mark's behavior during questioning was calm but distant. He insisted he loved Sarah and wanted her home as much as anyone else. Yet, the timing of the insurance policy was troubling, especially since the couple had recently argued over money and the stress of raising 5 children. Friends and neighbors spoke of occasional tension in the household, but nothing that hinted at violence or foul play. Detectives explored Mark's background and financial records, looking for signs of desperation or trouble. They found debts piling up and missed payments, painting a picture of a man under pressure, but no direct evidence linked him to Sarah's disappearance. There were no signs of forced entry, no reports of domestic violence, and no witnesses who saw anything suspicious. Still, suspicion lingered. The police considered that Mark might have staged the scene to look like a disappearance while hiding the truth. They searched the Bennett home again, this time more thoroughly, looking for hidden clues or signs of foul play. But the house held no secrets that pointed to Mark's involvement. Meanwhile, the children were questioned carefully by social workers and investigators. They described their father as kind, but stressed that Sarah had been increasingly withdrawn and scared in the weeks before she vanished. The children mentioned their mother talking about someone following her, but never gave details. As the investigation continued, rumors spread through the town. Some believed Mark had something to hide. Others thought Sarah might have run away to escape a troubled home. The police were caught between two difficult possibilities. Was this a family tragedy or a carefully planned escape? Detectives also examined other people connected to the Bennetts. Sarah's friends and extended family were interviewed, but none had seen or heard anything that explained her sudden disappearance. The police were left with fragments of a puzzle, but no complete picture. Then came a surprising piece of information. A local store clerk reported seeing Mark buying a large amount of camping gear days after Sarah went missing. This purchase raised more questions. Was Mark preparing for a trip, or was he trying to cover his tracks? Despite these new leads, the case grew colder. Without proof of crime or evidence that Sarah was harmed, the police had no choice but to keep searching for answers in the shadows. The life insurance policy had cast a long shadow of suspicion over Mark Bennett, but the truth remained just out of reach. Was he a grieving husband, a desperate man, or something darker? The town waited anxiously, hoping the next clue would bring them closer to the truth about the mother of 5 who vanished without a trace. Weeks after Sarah Bennett disappeared, hope for a breakthrough seemed to fade. The police continued their search, but every lead appeared to reach a dead end. Then, a surprising discovery reignited the investigation and brought fresh urgency to the case. A local hiker exploring a remote trail several miles outside of town stumbled upon a worn backpack hidden beneath some fallen branches near the edge of a dense forest. The backpack was weathered, dirt-streaked, and looked as if it had been left there for some time. Inside, the hiker found several personal items that immediately caught the attention of the authorities when the backpack was reported. Among the contents was Sarah's wallet, a few folded drawings made by her children, and a small notebook with some pages torn out. Most striking of all was a half-burned note. The note was difficult to read, but the fragments revealed words about fear, escape, and a plan to protect her family. It seemed Sarah had written the note in a moment of desperation, expressing a deep worry that her safety, and the safety of her children, was at risk. This discovery changed everything. It suggested Sarah had left the house voluntarily and had planned her disappearance, perhaps to shield her children from danger. But the question remained, from whom or what was she running? The location of the backpack was puzzling. It was far enough away from her home that Sarah could have travelled some distance on foot or by other means. The trail itself was known for being remote and difficult to access, making it unlikely she was there by accident. It pointed to a carefully thought-out route, one that would keep her hidden from anyone searching close to her neighborhood. Investigators examined the drawings left in the backpack. They were simple, childlike pictures, but their presence suggested Sarah wanted to carry reminders of her family close to her heart. The police wondered if she might have planned to return to them once the danger passed. Despite these clues, Sarah's exact whereabouts remained unknown. Her sudden disappearance, combined with the evidence from the backpack, fueled a new theory. Sarah had orchestrated her vanishing as an act of protection, a way to escape a threat she could no longer face. The note hinted at a struggle hidden beneath the surface, a secret life filled with fear and urgency. It was clear Sarah believed she had no choice but to disappear completely. Local volunteers expanded the search to include the areas around the trail, hoping to find more evidence. Or even Sarah herself. The community's hopes rose and fell with each passing day, balanced between despair and the possibility of a miraculous reunion. Meanwhile, the police revisited their interviews, trying to uncover any overlooked details that might explain what forced Sarah into such a drastic decision. Was she running from a dangerous person? Was there a hidden threat her family didn't know about? The answers remained elusive. The backpack, its contents, and the half-burned note became the key pieces of the puzzle. They told a story of fear, courage, and a mother's desperate attempt to protect her children at all costs. As the search continued, the town held its breath. The mystery of Sarah Bennett's disappearance was no longer just about a missing person. It was about uncovering the truth behind a mother's sacrifice and the shadows she tried to escape. Months passed with no sign of Sarah Bennett, and the town of Maplewood grew accustomed to the painful uncertainty that her disappearance had brought. Families moved on with their lives, the media coverage slowly faded, and hope for answers dimmed. Then, unexpectedly, a sighting changed everything. Far from the quiet streets of Maplewood, in a city hundreds of miles away, a woman was spotted living under a different name. She bore a striking resemblance to Sarah Bennett, but appeared guarded, careful to avoid drawing attention. Local authorities were notified, and soon investigators began piecing together how Sarah had managed to vanish so completely. It turned out that Sarah had not been taken against her will, nor had she fallen victim to harm. Instead, she had staged her disappearance intentionally, driven by a desperate need to escape a dangerous situation. Evidence showed she had planned her new life carefully, choosing a city where no one knew her and assuming a new identity to protect herself and her children. The journals found in the Bennett basement, combined with the backpack and note left behind, painted a picture of a woman trapped in an abusive relationship. Sarah had lived in fear, aware that staying could put her and her family in serious danger. Her disappearance was an act of courage, a way to break free and build a safer future. Sarah's new life was not easy. She worked hard to create distance from her past, often struggling with loneliness and the weight of leaving her children behind. But she believed it was necessary. Using the new identity, she reached out to support networks and shelters designed to help people escaping abuse. Her story was one of survival and resilience. Meanwhile, the authorities worked quietly to ensure her safety and to protect her children back home. Arrangements were made to provide for the Bennett children and to keep them out of harm's way. The community that had once searched for Sarah now hoped for her healing and peace. Sarah's return to contact remained cautious and limited, driven by the need to keep her location secret. But her story slowly came to light through official channels and trusted sources. It was a reminder that sometimes the most heartbreaking disappearances are not crimes, but acts of desperate survival. The town of Maplewood grappled with mixed emotions: relief that Sarah was alive, sadness over the pain she endured, and respect for the strength it took to start over. Her disappearance had revealed hidden struggles faced by many and sparked conversations about abuse, safety, and the difficult choices some must make. Sarah Bennett's story did not end with tragedy. Instead, it became a powerful testament to the courage of a mother who vanished to protect her family. It showed the lengths a parent will go to ensure their children's safety, even when it means losing everything they once knew. In the end, the mystery of the mother who vanished was solved, not by finding her lost or harmed, but by understanding the painful reality she had escaped. Her journey became a beacon of hope and resilience, inspiring those who face darkness to seek light and find strength in starting anew.